Hey guys, welcome to Red Devils United, and thank you for joining us here. Really trying to build up a nice community of Man United fans to discuss the ongoing season, to talk all things Man United in the Premier League. Fans from all teams are welcome. Again, we are always open to good, friendly, fun banter and debate in regards to Man United and the Premier League and all the other teams in which we compete. So please like, subscribe and share the channel. Really, I'm just created this video to do a recap of last season. And talk about why I think this season coming is going to be a far more competitive season for the Premier League than last season. And you know, Liverpool fans might not be happy with some of the things I have to say in regards to the league and its standard. But again, if you disagree, please comment below and we can have a chat about it. The more people that are in the community, the more people that are watching, I can do live videos and we can have a chat box. I keep going over here. We can have a chat box over here. We can answer live questions. And to do that, we just need everybody to like, subscribe and share the channel and the page. So last season, United finished third after a spectacular second half of the season. But the first half was not good. Now, in my previous video about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, it talks about all the dead wood that we removed at the beginning of last year. We got rid of 9 players out of the team. It left the team quite weak. And then we picked up a couple of injuries. You know, Martial got injured, Pogba got injured, and that left us short of creative midfielders. It left us short of striker options, and it left us awfully reliant on Rashford. And unfortunately, we drifted a lot in the first half of last season because of that. The points gap between ourselves and Liverpool by January was something like 26 points, and that was because of everything I mentioned. You know, you're talking about changing the culture of a team, changing the dressing room, getting rid of 9 players out of the team, and then you know, only bringing in 3 at that point. One of which was 8 million Daniel James, who's a squad player at best. So really, we were lacking in squad depth, and the gap between ourselves and Man City and Liverpool just grew and grew and grew. Now, the second half of our season, Man United were actually the best team in the league. From January 22nd to the end of the season, United had the best form of any team in the league. Yes, Liverpool had, you know, they'd won the league by a large portion of that, so obviously their form dipped. But United were the best team in the league for that spell, closing a 13-point gap on Leicester to finish third. So really, I'm hoping that's the form that we see continue into this season. But last season, there was basically 2 United teams. There was the United team that played from, you know, August until December. And then there's the United team that played from January 22nd, from the arrival of Bruno Fernandes and the return of Paul Pogba from injury, and the front 3 all being fit and playing together at the same time. That United team is what I want to see this year, who were undefeated in 18 matches, and you know, closed a 13-point gap on the teams above them to finish third. That's the United team I'm looking forward to seeing this season, and that's really what I think of last year's league. It's just split into two completely different entities. The beginning of the season where we were up and down and inconsistent because we had a lack of squad depth, we had a lack of creativity, and you know, we had a lack of striking options. In the second half of the season, which was just, it was fantastic. It was better football. Bruno came in, was brilliant. Pogba for me was one of the best players in the league the previous year, so it was good just to see him start to come back, and I hope, you know, he recaptures the form from not last season but the season before, when he scored 16 goals, had 9 assists and was one of the best players in the entire league. So really, last year it wasn't competitive. I mean, we had a massive gap between us and Liverpool and City, and it was, and that most of that, as I've mentioned, it was done, and the damage was done at the start of last season. You know, we closed that gap down in the second half of the season, but all the other teams were so far behind as well. You know, Liverpool won one of the weakest leagues in Premier League history. And there's 2 ways to show this, okay? And I'm not going to compare Liverpool teams with United teams. What I'm going to do is I'm going to prove it by comparing a United team with a United team, okay? The Man United team of 17-18, probably one of the worst teams we've had in 25-30 years, okay? Under Mourinho, Everything was kind of going downhill. They weren't a great team, okay? And anybody would admit they were not a good team. You can ask any Liverpool fan, is that United team a good team? And they would all have turned around and said, no, they're shit. Okay, because they were. If you ask how good was our 99 team, Keane, Scholes, Beckham, Giggs, York, Sheringham, Ole, Cole, how good was that team in 99? Okay, they were phenomenal. They were one of the best teams in the league. They won the treble. Beyond the treble, though, they also retained the Premier League 3 seasons in a row. Only one other team have done that, and that's the 08 team of Man United. Man City haven't even been able to, in this decade that they've dominated, the teens. City still never won 3 back-to-back. That United team in 99 won 3 back-to-back titles and a treble. The 17-18 rubbish United team actually finished second, earning more points over the course of the whole season. They earned more points than our 99 team. Okay? Now, there's only 2 reasons for that. Either they're better than the 99 team, which I think everyone will agree is not the case, or the league that they're playing in is weaker than what the 99 team played in. And that's the reason they gain more points than the 99 team, because they're playing in a weaker league. They're a much worse team than the 99 team. The reason they won more points over the course of the season is because they're playing in a weaker league. The league is rubbish compared to the 99 season. Okay? So, what that means is the league was already weak. Now you come to last year. It's like a year later, 2 years later, from the league being weaker. And let's look at what happens. Normally a team, your competitor, 2 of your competitors, maybe one of your competitors, they're going through a transition. It takes a couple of years. New manager comes in. Need to bring in new players, need to get rid of old players. They're going through a transition. Last season, it wasn't one team that was doing that. It wasn't 2 teams that were doing that. It wasn't even 3 teams. It wasn't even 4 teams. Man United, Arsenal, Leicester, Chelsea, Spurs, okay, all the closest rivals of Liverpool and City, every single one of them had a manager in his very first season or less, because Spurs and Arsenal's manager only came in halfway through last year. So of the 5 teams, Leicester, Spurs, Chelsea, Arsenal, United, all their managers were in their first season or less. All of them doing massive changes, squad overhauls, getting rid of players, bringing players in, dealing with transfer bans. All managers in their very first season, like when Klopp was in his first season and finished 8th. Okay? It takes time. All the managers of 5 of your nearest rivals are in their first season. That can't but weaken the quality of the league. Okay, so then your team goes on and wins it. Well done, Liverpool. Good job. You've won the league title. No one's going to take that away from you. Once you don't ignore the fact that the league was leaking. This season, I think, will be a better season. It'll be a more competitive season. Liverpool might still win it. Man City could win it. But the point is, Chelsea have taken a massive step up. Their manager's in the job a year longer. He done a great job the season before. He done well. But now he's in it a year longer. And he's just brought in like 6 or 7 players. Unbelievable players. He's added to his squad. He's making them stronger. Arteta has Arsenal looking much better than they were the previous year. I know there's only been 1 game, but they're looking good. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has brought in Bruno Fernandes. The team was transformed. He's brought in Van der Beek. Hopefully he brings in more players. But again, that team has massively improved, which we discussed in the last video. That team has done really well from the first half of last year to the second half of last year. So again, massive improvement. So this year, you're going to see more players come in, more improvement. Okay, so with that, Spurs. Mourinho's bringing in Bale. Bale is going to lift that team a good bit. They will be a little bit more, not a lot more, but they'll be a little bit more competitive now if Bale comes into the team. Really brings on a front three of Kane, Son and Bale. That's a decent front three in that squad. Leicester, Leicester unfortunately have not improved. They've not done too well. I'm just going to lower this down in case it's a bit low. Leicester have not done too well in relation to the players they're bringing in, but they're still a good side. But Chelsea, Arsenal, United, Spurs, they've all improved, and I think they'll all push Liverpool and they'll push City a little bit further this year, and it'll make for a much more competitive season. Okay, so that's my thoughts, guys. Let me know in the comments below. Do you agree? Let me know what you think. Am I right? Is the league a little weaker than it used to be? You know, like I said, compare United's 17 team with its 99 team. How could the 17 team actually earn more points over the course of the season if the league is stronger and they're much more shit compared to the 99 team? If the 17 team are worse than the 99 team, which they are, by a country mile, if they're worse, then the league has to be worse because there's no possible way they could accumulate more points over the course of a season. And then you have last year, like I mentioned, where all of your nearest rivals, 5 teams at the same time, all with managers in the job for their first year or less. So, love to know your thoughts on whether or not the season was weaker, and whether or not now you think it will also be way more competitive than it was last year because of the teams improving, because of the managers having more experience now within those teams, a full pre-season behind some of them. Well, I say full pre-season, really it's only been like 2-3 weeks, so it's different. And the fans. The fans not being allowed in the stadium for however long that lasts, for however long that continues to go on for, will probably affect Liverpool more than anyone else. Which I think we saw in the opening game against Leeds. You know, there's no fans there, there's no one to drive you on. It does affect everyone. I think it'll affect Liverpool maybe more than others because not that they relied on, but I think they got more of an uplift from their fans over the course of a match than other teams actually need. I don't think other teams need as much of a lift. They don't rely on their fans as much. So again, that's another reason why I think the league will be, because it's so different, I think it'll be more competitive this season. Anyway, guys, comment below, like the channel, share the channel, and let's build a community where we can debate and discuss football and have a bit of banter and open discussions. You know, the more fans we get over here, I'll be able to have an open chat, not paid for comments, but just people putting in chats, and I'll be able to, you know, bit of back and forth, answer some questions, and talk about all things United. Love to know what your thoughts are, so please see them below. Also, I'm just going to bring up here the Twitter handle. So please, at red devils underscore show. Please like, follow us on Twitter. I think I've got about 9 followers now. It's going up. Got about 9 followers. So just, you know, let's grow that. Let's grow the community and let's have a great season. Today we're playing Crystal Palace. It's our opening game of the season. So check out the video that I have that discusses the team selections, predictions for the weekend's results, and of course our match versus Crystal Palace. Love to know what your thoughts are. So check out that video. And again, everybody, thank you for joining me and spending the time watching this.